So I think we're at a time where I'm not sure it's different than ever, but social media has ramped things up so much where I feel like nobody says Donald Trump's an idiot, but also thinks that Nancy Pelosi's an idiot. I happen to be a person who believes both is true. And I think a lot of people feel that way, but yet now on social media, people have to take this side and that side and this side and that side. I think I know enough to know that I don't know about the experience that black people go through in a day in, day out life. Particularly, I think black people in major cities and black people who struggle economically. I'm not talking about Beyonce. I'm not talking about Chrissy Teigen. I'm talking about people who are living a life of which I have no familiarity at all. I wouldn't pretend to know it. For those people, it's an experience I can't pretend to understand, will never pretend to understand. That's a fact. What's also a fact is I think if you're looting and you're burning shit and you're blowing shit up and you're assaulting people and you're assaulting business owners, you're a fucking idiot. I think there's a way to protest legitimately and carefully and smart. I don't know if there's an impact for that. I don't know if it matters. I don't know if it leads to anything. And here's why. L.A. protests. Ferguson protests. Baltimore protests. Eric Gardner protests. We do this. It's like school shootings. These happen again, mass shootings. They happen again and again and again and again and again. Everybody jumps up and down and says, oh, this is the end. Now we finally have it. We finally fixed it. Now this is not fix it, rather. This is the situation that's going to be the total needle mover, the total game changer, and we're going to fix it, and we're going to figure out what the problem is, and then nothing happens, and it floats away, as this will. A week from now, we're not going to be talking about this in America. We are definitely not going to be talking about this. There'll be something else, or 10 days from now, and then this will happen again in 3 months and 6 months. Or 2 years from now, and it'll all happen again, like it did with Freddie Gray, like it did with that idiot Zimmerman, who was that his name, Steve?
Yes,
sure, that moron. These things happen, and now it's happening the newest time, like it always does. Like I said, with these shootings. So I think people get super worked up and then they move on. That's human nature. I get that. I don't think any of the. I personally don't think attacking business owners. I personally don't think lighting places on fire. And whether it's Antifa, whether it's people acting individually, I don't think beating the shit out of business owners. I don't think burning down cities or buildings do one shred of good. I think the people in America who you're trying to convince otherwise, you're losing. I'm just telling you now. They're not listening to this podcast. They don't care. I just think it's dangerous. I think it's stupid. And by the way, I think there's a certain amount of population, and again, this is me speculating, who are legitimately upset and want to protest. And I also think, as always, there's a certain amount of people who are just assholes, who just want to fuck shit up and be stupid, and this is their time to go and be stupid, and you're ruining whatever you're ruining. And I think what it comes down to is a couple of things. The way I look at it is, what they have to do is figure out how to get rid of these police officers when they fuck up before they really fuck up. I mean, this guy should have been gone years ago. And instead of protesting, if people got together and celebrities or whomever, because I will get to celebrities in a second, but if people got together and focused on that core issue, then you're talking about something that leads to actual change. This is going to lead to no change. I'm telling you, nothing's going to change. Nothing. Nothing changed after Ferguson. Nothing changed after Baltimore. Nothing changed after Rodney King. Nothing changed. We're here again. Now, has there been progress from 50 or 60 years ago? Of course. And by the way, this guy's arrested. He's going to jail for the rest of his life. He'll never get out of jail. Nobody is no person, amazingly to me, no idiot on social media has taken this guy's side yet with any real, volume. Anybody who has real following. Thank God.
Right-wing guys that are defending them?
I don't think so. I don't think so. None of those people have done that. I haven't seen. So, it seems like everyone in America essentially agrees. So what I need to know is, what are we, if I ask somebody, and maybe we'll get somebody on next week or two who protested, what specifically are you protesting, and how does burning down this building fix that? How does, like it happened in Rochester, New York, assaulting an old woman fix that? How does punching a police officer in the face fix that? I think, and maybe I'm naive, 99% of police officers are good people. Are there assholes? Of course they're assholes. Is this guy an asshole? Fuck yes, he's an asshole. I'm glad he's going to jail for the rest of his life. And I hope we can get to a way to prohibit that from happening again. And we could do the thing, and I see people on Twitter, it happens to white people all the time. Sure it does. Of course it does. I saw a story, a white guy died the same exact way. This is not the time for that conversation. It's not. Because again, I don't understand. And I'm not saying this like I don't understand. Like there's not a legitimate thing. I legitimately don't understand their side of the argument, the black people's side of the argument, because I've never had a day in that. I've been privileged my whole life. All I know is I'd like some results, and this will lead to no results whatsoever. And what happens now is you get into a social media battle where you have once again the extreme left and once again the extreme right, and they're just fucking shouting at each other. Whether it's Don Lemon on one side and fucking James Woods on the other side. Whether it's Sean Hannity or whoever, Sean Hannity, extreme right winger, whoever you want, on one side and some celebrity on the other side. And they're just fucking shouting. So their people will say, yeah, rile them up, rile them up, rile them up, rile them up. And nothing. If we're just doing this to take our Twitter dicks out, fine. We can do that. I can do that all day. I do it myself. But if we're really saying, how does this stop happening again? The only way I look at it is to actually look at it from a legal perspective. The idea that guys, and it's happening right now in Boston tonight, there's already been some reports. LA today, some reports of violence already. Well, that's going to get absolutely nothing accomplished. If what you're trying to get accomplished is for people to say that you're wonderful and you're brave and I'm crying right now and fine. If you really want to get shit done, so by the time the next time this thing happens, and the next time some guy who gets pulled over for a fucking bum check or whatever, runs a red light, and some cop comes over who's an asshole, who has 12 fucking things on his record and 4 letters written about him or whatever, that guy's not working there. That guy's not doing that. Then we're talking about something. These people do, it's just a fucking social media pity party. And by the way, it's a bunch of fucking rich white people tweeting out half the time. I mean, it's fucking insulting. So, do I think most of the protesters are legitimately protesting? Of course I do. I actually do believe that. Do I think some of them are assholes who are just like, I'll join the party and fucking steal shit? Yes. And for some reason, people can't say that. And the media, as always, leads the dishonesty charge on both sides, on the right and on the left. And I don't know when that stops. I have no idea when that stops. I don't mind it. I know that's how they are. But let's not pretend that you actually care. People on CNN who are crying. Don't pretend you care, people on MSNBC. Don't pretend you care, people on Fox. Don't act outraged. Don't pretend you love the cops more than I do, guy on Fox. And don't pretend you fucking love America more than I do or care more about the race relations in America, fucking Anderson Cooper on CNN. You're both fucking wrong. You both enjoy when this stuff happens. That's just the way it is. You like when this shit happens. And then, you get to me, another fraudulent part of this is the government. And I'll just pick my state, Massachusetts, where for months, my governor, Charlie Baker, who's an idiot, and Marty Walsh, who's even dumber, have told us we can't go outside. We can't go within 6 feet of people. We can't do this. We can't do that. Fine. Now, basically, everybody plays along. Everybody gets along. The governor of the state of Massachusetts was asked about protests 2 days ago?
Oh, yeah, on Friday.
And this is what he says.
I've talked to local leaders in Massachusetts about this. I've talked to our own folks about it, and have basically said that if people choose to protest, we need to make sure they have the ability to do that. We hope people protest peacefully, but honestly, it's a moment like that, an event like that. I can't imagine why people wouldn't want to get out in the streets and make a point about it.
So you have the governor of Massachusetts essentially saying, without saying honestly, I don't know why people would want to get out there. At first he says peacefully, but I can understand. I mean, what are we doing here? The fucking governor of the state of Massachusetts, who's been lecturing us for months, has been telling people you can't open your business, been telling kids you can't go to school. Now, I understand, obviously, somebody dying is way different and way more important. At least I'm not saying that. But what this guy is saying is, well, for this one, we're going to violate all these rules. And if you get a little unruly, if there's some violence, great. Now, what might happen is, a police officer could get killed. A good police officer could get killed. A random person could get killed. Somebody could get injured. Somebody could fucking, I'm hearing cop cars flying by now. Somebody could, get paralyzed. Who the hell knows? Somebody's business could completely torch down. And then I hear people say, well, there's insurance. I've heard people say this on social media.
Oh, yeah, it's just property.
It's not ideal.
Okay. So the people who say that, here's what I'd say to them. Okay, so you're right. Maybe you have insurance for riots. Maybe you don't. Or damage insurance. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. What's your address? I'm going to go over your house. Make sure your family's out. Make sure your pets are out. Okay, I'm going to light your house on fire now and burn it down. Do you have insurance? You do? Then what's the big fucking deal?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. And Marty Walsh, same thing. The mayor of Boston telling us, we're going to hand out masks tonight to these protesters, but you do the best job you can. This guy, and again, I'm not saying it's going to get, if somebody wants to get true, I'm saying that what happened to this guy is in any way similar to closing a salon down. Of course I'm not. But, I think it's probably more than likely that you're going to have, a woman was friggin' jailed in Texas for opening her salon, and you have people who are literally beating the shit out of people who are innocent, and they're not going to go to jail because, why? Because a guy did something in Minnesota and has now been jailed for it. Like we've completely snapped, and I blame the media, I blame mainstream media, I blame social media, and I blame Twitter. Twitter just changed the entire world. It's fucking crazy, and now you have people falling over each other to apologize, to feel bad, instead of saying, let's fucking fix the real problem. This was a shitty cop who killed this poor guy. And if he wasn't put in this position, if they had fucking fixed this, if there were ways to fix this, we wouldn't be here. Instead of saying, oh yeah, no problem. Yep, burn that restaurant down. Yeah, they've been working there for 30 years. Yeah, they'll take them forever to reopen. Yeah, they're fucked, but so what? No big deal. Yeah, coronavirus has been the reason why you're telling us not to move at all, but we'll pack everything in, 50,000 people. I mean, it's just, it's fucking nauseating. I'm so sick of it, and I blame social media and the media. And one more thing. I mean, I got to criticize my company, some of the people who work with me at Barstool. Ellie Schnitt and Ria, who I'm sure their hearts are in the right place, in my opinion. Telling people to donate $50 for bail money for these people is fucking outrageous. Of course they can do it, and if people want to do it, great, and I think they mean well, but you are asking people, you are not talking about, Reuben Hurricane Carter here. You're talking about people who have assaulted business owners, innocent people, have torched places, have lit things on fire, have attacked cops, and you want people to hand them money? And I saw Turtle Boy write this today. We can't write about Trenny and fucking West Point. So right. The military is off limits. Like we can't defend the military. That's Barstool. K Marker doesn't want that. But, if it's this, where let's give money to people who some people say are, essentially terrorists, I wouldn't go that far. But the people who are, we've all seen these videos. We saw that guy in Dallas get the shit kicked out of him. We've seen the people in Minnesota. We saw the fucking couple in Rochester, New York. This is happening. It's happening everywhere. They're looting. So somebody beats the shit out of somebody for, just beats the piss out of him, goes to jail. And Ellie Schnitt wants me to give that person fucking bail money? Fuck off. I mean, what are we fucking doing here? I mean, really? Like, what the fuck? And they're telling us we can't go after, don't talk about elected officials. Oh, don't talk about politics. Don't have Donald Trump Jr. on. Don't talk to Andrew Dice Clay. Trendy Kuznarek, who essentially said a kid in the military should be court-martialed for something he didn't do. We're going to criticize her, and they spike it. But they're retweeting and celebrating and fucking kissing each other's ass over bail money for fucking people who are literally breaking the law and looting and fucking beating the shit out of people. Fucking grow up. I mean, listen, I'm sure you're nice people. Your heart's in the right place, but you look and sound, in my opinion, like fucking children when you do that. Children. Do we have these? Do we have this? And I don't know either one of them. I'm sure they're very nice. Fran and Ria did their show. So they got, again, I would just say, like, I heard this and I'm like, what are they called? Swimmies when you're little kids? They swim in the deep end?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I think sometimes floaties. I think sometimes you might need floaties if it's 8 feet or deeper.
We cannot sit here and tell people, like I said, how they should or shouldn't protest. We do not have the right to do that.
Hold on. Why would I not have the right to do that? Why don't I have the right to tell somebody not to torch a building or not to beat the shit out of somebody who had nothing to do with what this asshole cop did to this poor guy?
Because you don't know how they feel.
Well, does Ria know how they feel?
No, that's she doesn't have the right either.
What if they? Why the fuck are they doing a podcast then? Why are they talking about it?
I don't know.
Shut the fuck up and talk about The Bachelorette then. You know what I mean? Like, we're adults here. We're talking about this. I'm acknowledging I don't know anything about how they feel. But if we're doing this thing now where, like, we're doing that, then nobody should say anything. I don't know anything about how poor George Floyd felt or feels. If you want to give that cop the death penalty, I'd be fine with it. I would have no problem with it. If the people who continue to let him have his job, they should be fired as well. There should be a trail. I hope it's starting right now. I hope they're working on that when this is all done. Absolutely. And then figure out the next ones and next ones and next ones to get some fucking legislation in here. But don't tell me I can't tell somebody how to protest or not protest. The fuck?
To be fair to them, that's how our I've sat through these fucking ethnic and gender studies classes. That's just how we're. It's very easy to get brainwashed by these people that just tell you that's a buzz phrase that they use over and over again in these classes, where it's you can't tell these people how to.
Okay, what if they blow up a building and 26 people die?
That's what they
which
say.
By the way, could happen.
Right, of course.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't think Antifa could do that?
It's just their lived experience. You know, you're not allowed to comment on it. Mike's right that those are just all those kind of buzzwords that you're programmed to talk about this kind of stuff.
Keep playing it. Let's go.
We cannot sit here and tell people, like I said, how they should or shouldn't protest. We do not have the right to do that. It has just become, it's boiled over. The pot has boiled over. I said to Ria before, like, you can't say like, oh, they're protesting the wrong way, or this isn't how it should be happening.
Hold on. No, really well said. What I'd say is some people are protesting the right way, and some people are protesting the wrong way. If you were walking down the street, is that Ria or Fran? I don't know which one that is.
I think that's Fran.
Fran, if you're walking down the street today in Manhattan and somebody bludgeoned you in the fucking head with a 2x4, I'd be the first one to say, you seem like a very nice person. That person's probably protesting incorrectly. I mean, I know that's, to me, a reach. Or if they dragged you around on the street or ran you over, I understand that you feel like you can't say certain things about certain classes of people, but you actually can if they're acting like assholes. Black, white, whatever you want. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. This fucking cop is an asshole. He's an asshole. I agree. Some cops are assholes. Most are not. So this thing where you can't tell somebody how to fucking protest?
Yeah. It's a reflex that a lot of people in our generation
it's stupid. Then fucking lose it. It's stupid.
Of course it is.
It's fucking stupid.
It's just that I've heard that in so many like EGST class, these fucking ethnic and gender studies classes. You hear that over and over that you can't, and it's a way of pandering to minorities and women. There's a lot of pressure on women to think like this too, more so than men. I think
completely.
That they have to react like this for some way.
I don't know why. And I listen. I'm sure they're very nice. They're getting caught in the crossfire here. I'm sure they seem like very nice people. And I think their hearts are in the right place. I think Ellie's heart is in the right place, but it's misguided. I appreciate that they're trying to jump in here and do whatever they're trying to do, but it is misguided.
Well, it's just a form of virtue signaling, right? They want to let all their followers know that they're on the right side of this. Like they don't support extrajudicial killings of minorities by white cops. Like no surprise. Like no one supports what happened there.
Is any more sound of that worth playing or no? No. Okay. A final thing, and then we'll jump off and get into other stuff. I mean, you know, and again, I feel like there's not a lot of people, and this will get construed by some people with some Republican rant, which of course it isn't. Trump is a fucking embarrassment on social media. And it's times like this, in moments like this, because we joke around, it's funny to tweet shit. Sure. But when stuff is real, like this is when they should just take the fucking phone away from this idiot.
It's a rough look.
He's tweeting about dogs and I mean, what the fuck is he fucking tweeting about?
He's basically tweeting like, hey, rioters, come and get me. I've got the Secret Service in there. They got itchy trigger fingers.
Foaming dogs and itchy trigger. Like, what good? I would ask him or whoever, one of his defenders, because like I said, the extreme left has dummies, the extreme right has dummies. And people right now who have been defending Trump and saying how great Trump is are fucking pretzels right now. What good does that do? What good does that tweet do? I mean, it's red meat, I guess, for the extreme wing of your party, but it's just fucking stupid. And, you know, absolutely nothing comes out of it. Now, he called them thugs, and I guess he sort of, for Trump, apologized for it. You know, I mean, we could play a sound right now. He's not the only president who's called certain kind of extreme protesting that. Go ahead.
My understanding is you've got some of the same organizers now going back into these communities to try to clean up in the aftermath of a handful of protesters, a handful of criminals. And thugs who tore up the place.
Right. I mean, you know, that's what Obama said, and he's not wrong about that specific group of people. I'm not talking about whatever 96% of the protests. I'm talking about the extremes that you see, and that's where your $50 may go for just so you know. So I mean, you know, I have a big deal, I guess, with Trump on that one because I think he was sort of trying to echo what Obama said, but he just can't fucking do it. Right. But the stuff about the dogs and the guns and loot, shoot, just. Why? Like, what good is that?
He's incapable of rising to the moment. You're never going to get a calming Oval Office address from him.
Guy.
And here's the other thing. The last thing I would say to all the, you know, everybody paying attention, whoever's listening to this, it doesn't even matter. You know, I talk about how I look at it, changing, laws and rules. A lot of these places where this happens, the same fucking people are elected all the time. And I would also say they look the same all the time. Look at the two people who are running for president right now. They're combined almost 160 years old, give or take. Both old, out of touch white guys. The vice president is an old, out of touch white guy. The person who ran against this current president last time is an old woman. The two senators in my state, Massachusetts, are two old white people. I would say start electing people who can experience what you're experiencing and can talk about what you've gone through, because I can't. Joe Biden can't. He'll pretend to. Donald Trump certainly can't. Elizabeth Warren will pretend to. She can't. Ed Markey can't. Andrew Cuomo, Charlie Baker, Gillibrand, fucking Schumer. They have no idea what you're talking about. Klobuchar, Minnesota, does not know what you're talking about. They have no idea what you've experienced. So start voting. That'd be my other thing. You fucking show up on election day and vote. Voting is a much more powerful tool if you do it in force than burning down a fucking, fucking sporting goods store or stealing fucking from the Cheesecake Factory. I think it's much more effective tool if you want actual change. That's the only way you're going to change it. You're not going to change it by fucking lighting things on fire and tweeting. You're going to change by actually doing shit. That would be my final thought on it. Unless I'm missing anything else, Steve. Is there any other sound you want to play?
Well, there was the whole issue of the media trying to say that this was outside agitators in Minnesota, and the governor and the safety commissioner came out and said every single person who was arrested was not from Minnesota, and then that turned out to be completely false. And then for a little while over the weekend, they were running with this narrative that white supremacists had somehow infiltrated Minnesota and they were responsible for all the bad acts. It just gets to what you were saying earlier, that the media is so fucking reckless and they love this.
Right. Yeah, and they do. They get off on it. And that's not going to stop. That's not going to stop because it's good business. People will watch it and react to it. But I mean, if we're doing a thing where we just care about media and so whatever, then fine, I'll play along. But if we're actually trying to change shit, well, then I think, this is probably not going to be the way to do it. And it's just going to float away. And 3 weeks from now, we'll say, 6 months from now, we'll say, remember, what was that guy's name? Was it Floyd? It's just such a discredit. So, unless shit gets done, nothing will change. So,
well, they need to reform police unions. Police unions have too much power, and both parties are enthralled to them.
Good luck. So,
and it becomes a race thing instead of what it really is, where people are drawn to. There are a lot of great cops, and a lot of them are assholes that just want authority in some way. This guy's probably harassed white people too. Like, he's probably just a horrible cop that should have never had that job, but we turned it into something different.
Well, I think there's an element of race to it, though.
Probably. Absolutely. Didn't they worked together for a long time? They were co-bouncers for over 10 years.
It's just too much. I just think that, I'm 45. The 45-year-old black guy who grew up in the inner cities had a way different experience driving than I had. It's just... Of course.
But what I'm saying is I think that guy's been an asshole to people of all race. I think he's just an asshole.
No doubt. There's no doubt. No, and that until that gets fixed, we're just dancing around and fucking tweeting stuff and acting emotional and telling people that it doesn't matter how people protest, which is just fucking childish. But anyway, all right, goodbye, YouTube.